Hey YouTube, JSparks24 here with a little project that I've got going on. We're going to see if I'm as smart as I think I am, or more likely we're going to find out that I'm not. And what we've got here is a project gun that I'm working on as a Christmas present from my dad. Now what you're looking at is an already sporterized German K98 Mauser. As some of you may know, the K98 was the main battle rifle used by the Germans in both in World War II. A different version of it was used in World War I, but it is the final production model that the Germans produced for their military. This particular weapon was brought in, and we're not really certain where it came from. It was captured by someone. All of the right marks have been scrubbed off of it. So we do still have the original manufacturer's code. However, we'll get to those things in a minute. The Mauser 98 is an 8mm. That's a 7.92 by 5.6mm round. It was originally had a 5-round capacity that was fed through stripper clips. Now the previous modifications to the gun, as you can see here, they've actually altered this section of the rear receiver significantly. This is where the stripper clip would feed in. There should be a couple of little metal wings here to hold it, and those have been machined off. You can also see, while we've got it up here, the manufacturing information. That is DOT, which was the manufacturer's code for a factory called Waffenwerks in Brno, Czechoslovakia. The Germans, of course, annexed Czechoslovakia in the late 1930s and turned their domestic military production over to the production of weapons for the Wehrmacht. This was made in 1945. This particular model is what's called a Kriegs model. I'll go ahead and while we've got this up, we'll safety check it, though I've already done it once before, but just to be safe, nothing in the magazine, nothing in the chamber. The gun is safe. Go ahead and take the bolt out so you can see it. As I said, this is what's called a Kriegs model, and as things went bad for the Germans and you got towards the end of the war, they needed to produce things more quickly to try to get it into the field. Earlier versions of the K98, these ovals on the bolt were much larger, but because they were trying to move this as quickly as possible, these things shrunk. They cut corners here and there. It's in really good condition overall. The bolt and the receiver serial numbers match. You can see whoever sporterized before, this was probably a straight bolt. They cut it, reforged it so it would be curved so it could mount a scope. The magazine plate is from a different gun. The serial numbers on it do not match. That's not that uncommon. Whoever did this, it looks like it has been done quite some time ago. When they sporterized it originally, they took the old military stock off, and I was actually kind of happy to find this at a reasonable price because I didn't want to cut up a pristine or even somewhat battered gun in its original military configuration. They've also, as you can see, taken the original 3-position safety off, and this would have been a much larger piece of metal that was in 3 positions. This would be all the way over as fire. Originally this would have come up to the middle, and that was, still on safety, but you could open the bolt and then all the way over would actually lock the bolt closed. Now this is a cock on open, so, and I'm not going to pull the trigger right now, but if you'd fire it around, when you work the bolt, this would be a little harder coming up because that would cock it, and then you'd cycle it through. It cycles pretty smoothly. They did, whoever changed the configuration up, did mill out part of the magazine plate here so that it wouldn't hang. Originally these things would come up and hang and you'd have to press them down. But that's what we're starting with. And the reason I went with this rifle in particular, or any sort of milsurp rifle to do this with, is my father's original deer rifle is a Lee Enfield. I believe it's a number 4 Mark 1. It's a British 303. And I thought it would be nice. We could get him in, a new rifle. We build it from scratch. Well, not quite from scratch, but pretty close. And that's kind of just a nod to what his first gun was. What we're going to do with this right now is I've bought a new stock for it, a rough unfinished walnut stock from Brownells. We're going to take it and do some slight modifications. My dad's kind of a short guy, so we're going to cut a little bit of the buttstock off so he's got a better cheek weld and a better reach to the trigger. Going to probably change the trigger out for something lighter. That's still the military trigger in it. It's not too bad, but it's got a little bit of play in it, and it's a little stiff. I'm going to Cerakote it. I had originally planned on rebluing it, but Dad is a little bit hard on his guns, so want to make sure we got something that's good and durable for him. So the Cerakoting was actually pretty reasonable. I spoke to a guy back home, and somewhere around the $150 range for a little sandblasting and just basic graphite black. So we're going to redo all the barrel and the receiver with that, and the trigger guard as well, so that we've got something good and durable that's going to last a long time and resist corrosion and wear. After that, mostly we're going to put or at least we're going to look at putting the iron sights back on. I prefer guns with scopes to still have the iron sights in case for some reason something goes wrong with the scope. Though there is some concern about soldering the front sight on before we Cerakote it, because the solder may or may not melt. We're not sure about that. And if any of you guys happen to have done that before with this particular model or similar situation, feel free to leave comments as to what you did or how you got around that, because I'd really like to put that back on there for him, but it's not necessary to make the gun function like I'd like it to for him. And then finally we're going to pick up a nice scope for him, mount that on there, sight it in. There are going to be a few more parts to this video. The next ones hopefully will see us with the gun Cerakoted, maybe in the new stock already, with gunsmithing work done on it. We'll be back for that. We'll be back here. Voodoo 1911 was nice enough to loan me his bat cave for this, so we're kind of on location there. And when we're all said and done, hopefully go out and get a little bit of footage shooting it. So hope you enjoyed it. Feel free to leave comments. Always make sure to go check out my buddy Voodoo 1911's channel. He's got some good stuff over there. And subscribe. Feel free to leave comments. Thanks for watching, guys.